With the reveal of these cards, it seems like Konami is really trying to apologize for how they designed the Neospacians. It's really strange. So, new stuff dropped last night. Let's talk about that. Yo, what's up, boys and girls? It's your boy Swolelax here, and I'm back at it again with another video. This time, something just a little bit different today. Konami dropped us the best Valentine's Day gift we could ever ask for, and that's new hero support. Kind of. It's really more Neos support, which is very fascinating because Konami seems to, and what I thought in the previous past, kind of disregard Neos as its archetype. And we've been streaming and talking about this quite a bit, how we wish there was more stuff to do with the Neos archetype. But now we have Power of the Elements reveals of new Neospacian support and new Neospacian cards that we'll be getting inside of the TCG sometime soon. I'm very excited to explore new things with Neos. I think that's gonna be really cool. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave it a like. And if you want to see more from your boy, please consider subscribing. We're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and it really does help support the channel. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the new Neospacian support. And I just want to say before we jump into these cards, the artwork is mind-blowing. So first one up, we have Elemental Hero, Spirit of Neos. Elemental Hero, Spirit of Neos is a level 7 light warrior effect monster, which has 3 effects. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position, and if you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 spell or trap that mentions a hero monster's name or 1 polymerization from your deck to your hand. During your main phase, you can shuffle this card into your deck, and if you do, special summon 1 Elemental Hero normal monster from your deck. Now, of course, we have to talk about the fact that they're still using battle phase to define some of these GX archetypes and GX era cards. Then, okay, I guess that's fine. It can technically work as well as a warrior extender. And the fact that you can search a card that lists a hero monster's name, something like, I don't know, Featherwind, for example. And clearly, by the way, this card is meant to set up the OG fusion material because as it says, you can search a polymerization and then shuffle back this card to special summon a Elemental Hero normal monster. So it doesn't have to be just Neos, it could be any of the OG vanilla heroes. And one of the biggest shortcomings, to be fair, about this card is that it doesn't count its name as Elemental Hero Neos. We've had 2, technically 3 retrains of Elemental Hero Neos inside of Yu-Gi-Oh! So far. And honestly, I kind of hate the fact that only one of them says that it can count as Elemental Hero Neos, but for that one, it's Neos Alias, and for that one, you have to normal summon it twice, so kind of not worth it. But overall, very interested to see how this card goes and see if it's actually worth boostering and turboing out certain cards, especially that spell card searching. That's gonna be pretty cool. The next card is a monster, a retrain of Crossporter. Crosskeeper is a level 2 Dark Warrior effect monster with 2 effects. The first, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Special summon 1 Elemental Hero or Neospacian monster from your hand or graveyard, but if you special summoned it from the graveyard, its effects are negated. And the second effect, if you special summon an Elemental Hero fusion monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, draw 2 cards, then place 1 card from your hand to the bottom of the deck. Crossporter was definitely one of the more weaker versions of Neospacian support, so I do like how they revisited this card inside of Crosskeeper. The sending the card from hand or field to the graveyard is definitely welcome because typically speaking with Crossporter, it had to be in the graveyard, you probably had to waste your normal summon, or trying to get it to the graveyard was sometimes super cumbersome. I kind of understand, but I'm not super psyched for this card negating the effect when it comes back from the graveyard. Because honestly, one of the biggest things holding heroes back is a better, more consistent way to play Mask Change. So having Elemental Hero Shadow Mist in your graveyard and playing things like Crosskeeper to special summon it back can have niche applications, but now that's not necessarily the case. Moving on to one more exciting reveals inside of this entire setup, we had Elemental Hero Shining Neos Wingman. So now Wingman is technically like a sub-archetype, which is kind of neat. The artwork for this thing is absolutely gorgeous, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. But Elemental Hero Shining Neos Wingman is a level 8 light warrior fusion effect monster that has Elemental Hero Neos plus 1 Wingman fusion monster as material. This card reads, if this card is special summoned, you can destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of different attributes on the field. This card gains 300 attack for each monster in your graveyard and cannot be destroyed by effects. In addition, if this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's attack. I'm sorry? So let me get this straight. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. It gains 300 attack for each monster in the graveyard, not just hero, and it destroys cards non-targeting? That's kind of dope. So what's the catch with this card is I think you have to play Elemental Hero Neos, just the vanilla, and then you also have to have the Wingman fusion monster. So technically the easiest way to do that, in theory, would be to one, Miracle Fuse this card from your graveyard, so you have Neos and the Wingman fusion inside your graveyard, and you can special summon this card out. So it has niche applications in that sense, but if I had a way to turbo out this card, I think that would be just amazing. Next, on to the spells and traps. Again, this artwork is sick. Look at that Wrath of Neos coming down. This card is Engage, Neospace. It is a normal spell, and you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this card, except for fusion monsters. This card reads, send one Neospacian monster and one Elemental Hero monster to the graveyard, one from your hand and one from your deck. Special summon one Neospacian monster or one level 5 or higher Elemental Hero monster from your deck. If it is an Elemental Hero Neos, it gains 1000 attack. And if you do, add one polymerization from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So we have another polymerization searcher inside of the Neos archetype, which is kind of funny considering that Neos don't really use polymerization. That's the whole gimmick. But once again, I think they're trying to fuse, if you will, the Neos archetype and the hero archetypes to have more synergy together. The fact that you can send monsters from your deck is actually very solid. And I'm a little bit confused on the polymerization search still. Overall, I don't see this card getting massive competitive play, but it might be useful for experimentation. We'll have to see. Next, we have more spells and traps. This one is Instant Contact. First things first, I want to point out is that we're missing Air Neos at the top of the artwork. Instant Contact is a normal spell card that reads, pay 1000 life points. Special summon one level 7 or lower Elemental Hero or Neospacian monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. But if you do not have Elemental Hero Neos on the field or in your graveyard, the summoned monster cannot attack, its effects are negated, and also return it to the extra deck during the end phase. Instant Fusion meets Neospacians. What a weird combination. Now, will this card be used as anything more than just an Instant Fusion Warrior Extender? Probably not. Because there's effectively no restrictions on this card, I think this thing is going to be absolutely insane, not only in Neos decks, but also inside of Warrior Extender decks. Next, moving on to one of the oddest artworks I've seen, N-Wave. N-Wave is a continuous spell that reads, if your Elemental Hero monster or monsters is used as a fusion material for a fusion summon and sent to the graveyard or banished, you can special summon one Neospacian monster or one Elemental Hero Neos from your deck. If a Neospacian monster or monsters and or Elemental Hero Neos is shuffled from your field and or graveyard into the deck and or extra deck, Jesus Christ, you can special summon one Elemental Hero monster from your graveyard. That was a lot to break down. Essentially, this card is trying to cover all the bases that are included inside of a Neospacian archetype, from contact fusing to shuffle back in the deck, from shuffling back into the graveyard to the deck. This thing is like trying to have it all. The cool thing about this is it doesn't negate the effects of whatever you're summoning for its first effect, and in addition to that, because you can special summon an Elemental Hero monster from your graveyard, in theory, it's wanting you to do Neos. But technically, this card can be used on general Elemental Hero support, things like Stratos or things like Shadow Mist. It's so fascinating to me in the language of this thing, because there's so many and/ors inside of this card, because yeah, unfortunately, Neospacians and Elemental Hero Neos are kind of a part of two separate archetypes, and so mixing those into one is difficult to do. So having this card cover all those bases and gain you value off of those interactions is an interesting concept. Next, one of my favorite artworks inside of the entire reveal, Fusion Exceed. Fusion Exceed is a quick play spell that reads, target one face-up monster on the field, reveal one Elemental Hero monster and one Neospacian monster or one level 10 monster from your hand, deck, or extra deck, and if you use the targeted monster as fusion material this turn, you can treat its name as the revealed monsters. Also, if you have Elemental Hero Neos on the field and or in your graveyard, send the revealed monster to the graveyard. Otherwise, if it was revealed from the hand, shuffle it into the deck. Okay, so this card is really confusing for almost no reason, and I've read it like 5 times, and I'm not quite sure I quite have it yet. So the sequence in which this goes is that you target a face-up monster on the field, reveal an Elemental Hero monster, a Neospacian, or a level 10 monster from your hand, deck, or extra deck, and if you use the targeted monster's fusion material, it counts as the name of the revealed monster from wherever you revealed it from. It's trying to replace fusion material for contact fusing, because that was one of the biggest things if you had like something like Elemental Hero Prisma out and you send something like Neos, or for example, if you had a card, I think it's like Fusion Tag. And finally, from this big reveal, we have Favorite Contact, which is a normal trap card. Favorite Contact reads, special summon one fusion monster from your extra deck that lists a hero monster as material by placing the materials listed on the bottom of the deck in any order from among the cards in your hand, on your field, in your graveyard, and or your face-up banished cards, ignoring its summoning conditions. And if you place Elemental Hero Neos, the special summon monster cannot be returned to the extra deck. This card in particular is screaming to me, we're so sorry for the terrible summoning conditions of the Neospacians, and we're so sorry the fact that they have to be shuffled back into the extra deck. Why? One, it has amazing artwork. Two, you can use material from anywhere that you have access to it. The banish pile, the graveyard, your hand, the field. The only thing that you can't do is from your deck, which technically speaking, Neos Fusion already has you covered. And unfortunately is also too slow because it's a trap card. If this card was something like a spell card or a quick play spell or something, this card would be nuts. But because it's none of those things, unfortunately as a trap card, it's going to be too slow to see play inside of Neos, and that's my hot take. I think that this card's really cool, but unfortunately, I think it's just gonna be a little bit too slow to play inside of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! But honestly, we'll just have to wait and see how good these cards really are. The TLDR for all this thing is that I think this is a really neat way for Konami to try to rework the Neos and Elemental Hero archetype into one merged form. The Neos deck has practically been unplayable unless you're playing Rainbow Neos Turbo. In a competitive sense, I don't necessarily think these cards are going to be the best or maybe make a huge impact, but I think it does update the deck to a modern level, especially because retaining value and retaining card advantage is something that Neospacians have the hardest time doing. What do you guys think of it though? Do you guys like these cards? Do you guys hate these cards? Do you think they could have done better? What more things do you want to see from Neos and Elemental Heroes going into the future? I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave it a like. And if you want to see more from your boy, please consider subscribing. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on this for now. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.